We have a pleasure deficit disorder in this country. I think that there is a cure, and that cure is female orgasm.
You could cold read people with such accuracy that it could change your life. It went from utopia to a hellhole.
People were getting hurt. People were getting hurt badly.
What?
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 What? You would think that when a cult leader gets caught, that the cult gets shut down. But that is often not the case. And it is not the case at all with OneTaste. So today we're going to discuss how orgasmic meditation is still a thing, the OneTaste cult is still going strong, and dive a little deeper into what is going on with all of this.
Karma's a bitch.
Queen of Karma.
OneTaste was a sexual wellness multi-level marketing company founded in 2004 by Nicole Deadone, promoting a practice called Orgasmic Meditation, OM. OM involves a 15-minute partnered session where one person gently strokes the other's clitoris, aiming to combine sexual stimulation with mindfulness to achieve personal growth and healing. The company offered courses and retreats, claiming to empower women and address sexual trauma. At its peak, OneTaste generated millions in revenue and attracted a significant following. However, in 2018, media investigations in a Netflix documentary titled Orgasm Inc. brought to light allegations of coercion and abuse within the organization. Former members accused the company of manipulating individuals into unpaid labor and unwanted sexual acts under the guise of spiritual enlightenment. These revelations led to an FBI investigation and, subsequently, federal charges. In June of 2023, Daedone and former head of sales Rachel Cherwitz were indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit forced labor. The trial commenced this May, and therefore we've been deep diving into the case. Today, we're diving into it a little bit further than I did the last time. Check it out if you haven't yet. I found a video where Nicole Deadone explains how she came up with her idea for orgasmic meditation. Or did she come up with it?
Jacques Cousteau said, you can't have a profound experience and not share it with people. It definitely was not what I was intending to share with people. I thought I was going to be a Buddhist nun. That was the route I was headed to. And then I went to a party and I met a Buddhist, and it was a terrible party, but he was good. And he said, I want to introduce you to this practice. And I said, okay. And he said, oh, it's a sexuality practice.
These practices have roots in several ancient traditions, though OneTaste heavily repackaged and commercialized them, and the concept of blending meditation with sexuality is ancient. For example, Tantra dates back thousands of years and involves the integration of sexuality and spirituality. But orgasmic meditation, as practiced and marketed by OneTaste, is a modern invention, drawing selectively from these ancient traditions while creating a proprietary model with cult-like dynamics.
And I said, okay. And they said, no, you'll just lie down, you'll take off your pants, I'll stroke you for 15 minutes, and then when it's over, you're free to go.
And you didn't think anything was weird about that? You weren't like, hold on a minute, you're gonna do what?
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 And I don't know what happened. You know, it was.
You said yes, obviously.
Well, yeah, I know that happened. You know, and then I tried it, and he bypassed some kind of vigilance center. I reverse engineered it since. Like, how did I say yes? But I tried it, and when I tried it, it was the experience I had was everything I had had in sitting meditation in terms of, you know, kind of like cosmic connection and bliss and all of those things. But what really happened was I had the most profound human connection I had ever experienced.
Yeah, she's completely batshit crazy.
It was like I was lying there, and normally I did what so many of my clients do. You know, I was thinking, I was like, this is kind of weird, and ew, he's kind of creepy, and
Now they act like if you feel like somebody is being creepy while touching you, that it's something that you should just work through and get to the other side of, and you shouldn't listen to your intuitions and maybe stop the relations, which is just a very, very worrisome mentality to push.
I don't know if we're gonna get married. I don't know if we're gonna have kids. And then all of a sudden it was like, and whatever I experienced was the feeling everything is supposed to be, is what I thought.
Cuckoo! And the coaches aren't that much better. This guy mansplains female orgasms to us.
The process of coaching usually looks like educating people about how female orgasm works, which is distinct from how male orgasm works. Notice that men's bodies and women's bodies work a little bit differently.
Nicole goes on to touch on the science, which we'll get further into in a moment.
We found out, we've done the science now, is a lot of it's just low oxytocin and high cortisol.
It's all just about our hormones, guys. And she wraps things up with some of her good old feminism.
All of these things that we kind of consider the stereotype of woman, when you break it down, often it's just really mixed up hormones that very easily can be replenished through the practice.
What?
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 What? Unleash the creative, free the feminine, heal the world. Did I mention that their website is still active and we'll be going through it now? The Eros Platform by OneTaste. Welcome to the Eros Platform, a network built on erotic intelligence. The Eros Platform is a thriving community dedicated to unleashing the power of Eros as the foundation for individual and collective flourishing. Through premium education in orgasmic meditation, live events, a visionary publishing house, and innovative art, we foster a culture rooted in liberation, connection, and creativity. Together, we ignite a movement toward a world of profound beauty, dignity, and interconnectedness. Now, what's funny is that they list that they were brought up in the New York Times, and they were brought up in the New York Times as a cult about Nicole Deadone, storyteller, erotic artist, activist, Sicilian. The story thus far. I specialize in following the thread where not many dare to tread. I want to know life biblically, the way a man knows a woman, or other configuration of such. I want to know the water by getting wet. Theory, commandments, concepts leave me empty, and not a good kind of emptiness. My driving question is that true? Is it true wholly? Where and how is it true? For whom is it true and why? Can it withstand the test of time? Is it true for me as a woman? The last one has taken me into some very off-beaten paths. Givens are often no longer givens. When I ask this question, the world turns upside down.
What?
What? We have this quote here from her. My work remains what it once and always was, to turn poison into medicine and make it available to those who would want it. Funny pictures they chose.
What?
My two guiding principles are the ideas that, firstly, I've come only for this. Whatever is presented before me is mine to puzzle, play, to explore, and finally to love. This leads me to, secondly, the how I explore, which is to ask, can I love this? Can I love even this? Who is the I who is loving in this moment? What does love look like here? Does it require a peaceful approach, approval, power, or some good old-fashioned wrath? And then, what is this? I must leave who I believe myself to be to answer that question. What is this on its terms and not on mine? As a free woman, I want all things to be free, liberated from any ideas I would impose on them. I create genres from existing worlds by extracting the essence and growing philosophies from there. I ask, what is the highest form of this? What does this need to become that? What does it need cut away to become its own unique beauty? How will we know when it is realized? My absolute specialty is doing this with shadow material and what we discard or disregard. What we see as trash. This whole website is trash. People we see as monsters. Nicole. And groups we have seen as outsiders. The mark of my work is that something that has been denigrated is now exalted, and not by assimilation, but by becoming wholly and uniquely itself, and then fitting into the culture in such a way that it is viewed as invaluable. She's such a victim. I do this by turning every process into a spiritual journey, or as one reporter described it, I do everything I do religiously. Okay, cult leader. I do it agnostically as well, meaning that the edicts of my known world do not constrain me. I will enter any domain, apprehend it, taste, touch, smell, feel, and most of all, listen to it until it reveals its secrets, and then I will offer my gifts to it. it on its terms. Are we sure it's on its terms? Because, according to the litigations, that part is vital. It is not me imposing my will, my idea of what it wants to be, but me using my powers to access the resources for it to become itself. I believe that everything, and I mean everything, when properly tended to, reveals an untold beauty. Keeps reusing the same picture here. We are constructed of the divine, but my work is not as an activist, reformer, saint, teacher, guru, or shaman. It is an artist, an erotic artist. Is that what you tell yourself? My art might be considered akin to found object art, made from what has been thrown away, but it is an art that turns something back into itself. I vision how to turn the unconscious realm of sex into the spiritual plane of eros, the degradation of addiction into the art of addiction that isolates the addiction drive for purposes of realization, the life sentence of trauma into human flourishing, the feminism of subjugated women into the feminine collective of inestimable power, those who have been canceled, exiled, and banished into the leaders of the next era. Oh, calm down, Nicole. Decertified soil into not only carbon absorbing, but nutrient producing prisons into monasteries, hunger and food deserts into farm to table, free pop-up restaurants, black culture into the black box for society that holds the secrets. I know, though, that these domains, historically viewed as inferior and or invisible, must first recognize their unique value and then draw it forward and learn to wield it well. From there, they can see their unique place in the order of things and finally get some good old-fashioned PR. This means they need cultural authorities to speak for them. No one wants you speaking for them, Nicole. Science is a non-partisan authority in this culture, so I get the science to back the truth so that people who have doubts will have proof and as a result have access to medicine. I don't believe that OMs are FDA approved. My work remains what it once and always was, to turn poison into medicine and make it available to those who would want it. Harriet Tubman said, oh, Jesus Christ. Harriet Tubman said, I would have freed more slaves if they had known they were slaves. I think we'd have more people healing if the real medicine were not feared and misunderstood. Nicole Deadone. And that's the about her section. Oh, calm down, Nicole. They have a section here that, of course, welcomes us to the platform. They talk about their new book, Sex, God, and the Brain, from neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Newberg. Talk about how you can learn to OM. Now, I do realize that they refer to OM as OM.
I saw a demo of OM.
Like the sound that you make when you're meditating. OM.
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 But it's really hard for me to continuously say that, so I'm going to continue to call it OM, standing for Orgasmic Meditation. So don't mind me doing that. It says that the Eros Academy is the exclusive source of education and training in the philosophy of Eros and the practice of OM. At the Academy, you can train in both Eros and OM. With the world's top faculty with decades of experience. It talks about Eros Sutras, which goes into more detail about OM. Let me know if you want me to do a whole video on all that. But the part that I want to read right now is the science of OM. Because they say they got science. Eros is the essential energy force that arises from our desire for connection with ourselves, others, and the world around us. It encompasses all of life, evokes beauty, and contributes to an understanding of essential truth. It seeks to unify masculine and feminine energies and manifests as creativity and genius. The Eros platform fosters conversations that explore how to meet the urgent needs of our time with creativity, humanity, and effectiveness. Eros bridges what is otherwise separate, serving as an essential catalyst for reimagining the world through a feminine lens. Together we pave a path toward human flourishing. Nicole Nicole, it seems like you paved a path towards human trafficking, awakening the unique genius within each individual, institution, and cultural group to steward the world with compassion, connection, and play. So now let's get into the science of OM. Institute of OM Foundation. The Institute of OM Foundation is the premier nonprofit research center focusing on peak state consciousness arising from the practice of OM as it pertains to improvements in the areas of trauma, depression, general health, and the advancement of eudaimonia. It's just a picture, okay? The importance of connection. Our belief is that human maladies stem from disconnection. Through the practice of OM, we see similar benefits of sitting meditation, psychedelics, and other mystical state practices, with the addition of proof of providing human connection. Our research indicates adding the element of connection increases the possibility of humans to access the mystical state and benefits of other modalities more quickly and through shorter practice sessions. Not hearing a lot of science so far. I am hearing a lot of trust me, bro, we're studying this ourselves, but I would like some peer-reviewed research, some third-party testing, you know? A fast-growing field of research. In 2014, we started the Institute of OM Foundation to begin researching orgasmic meditation. See what I mean? They're the ones doing the research. A little bit biased. Our team consisted of a few orgasmic meditation practitioners and several scientists, including Dr. Nicole Deadone, a neuroscientist researching human sexual behavior, addiction, and the physiology of sexual response. Now, I have actually read through this entire paper here, and honestly, this is kind of BS. It basically just proves that if a woman does OM with her partner, she'll feel closer to him. And if she does it with someone else, it might help her anxiety to have some kind of release. It's what we already know about the female orgasm. But if you guys want me to go through it in future with you, I wouldn't mind doing that. Just let me know. But it's complete bull hooey. As well as Dr. Andrew Newberg, Director of Research at the Marcus Institute of Integrative Health and a physician at Jefferson University Hospital. Dr. Andrew Newberg is another interesting character who seems to do neuroscience via religion. Could be an interesting deep dive in future. Let me know if you also want me to do a video or live stream on this dude. In 2016, we received the first IRB approval allowing us to begin research at the University of Pittsburgh. The first yes initiated a cascade of additional request approvals and got our research off the ground. Since then, we have had 9 published papers, 7 peer-reviewed, 9 IRB-approved studies, and 8 studies completed. 1 study is currently in process. Okay, and they got a couple quotes there from PhDs, and it says a view into OM and emotional health. The practice of orgasmic meditation has been shown to both increase the intensity of positive emotions and decrease negative emotions. This effectively widens emotional range. I mean, yes, but, I'm not sure how this proves that OM is a good practice. I mean, this can prove that having an orgasm makes you feel good, can lessen anxiety. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a psychological theory that is the root of all social work. According to Maslow, human needs are arranged in a hierarchical pyramid with physiological needs at the base, followed by safety, love and belonging, esteem, and finally, self-actualization at the top. In Maslow's hierarchy, sex is listed as a physiological need, alongside food, water, and sleep. So it is pretty important to the human condition, unless of course you are asexual, in which case it might not apply to you. This is just a guide. I also want to point out that sex is considered a physiological need. These are among the most important needs. Sex is not included in love and belonging and is not necessarily a part of intimacy. These things are separate. But because of this, it is pretty fair to say that most humans, again, unless asexual or just not really into sexual intimacy, which some people aren't, most humans do better if their physiological needs are always met. In social work, we would whip out this baby every time that we got a new client because we would have to ensure that their needs were met here. For example, if a client didn't have shelter, there would be no point in working on their issues of self-esteem. The first thing that we would have to solve is finding them a shelter. It's a guide that is used in order to decide what is most important to ensure that every client can have a good human experience. But even in the language here, it just says this could mean that OM is a potential intervention in sexual anorexia associated with trauma. And that's worrisome to me as someone with a trauma disorder. Based on what I know about OM, I would not be okay doing it. I think they need to study trauma a little bit more and how people with trauma disorders feel about strangers touching their private areas, even doctors. When it is time for my pap smear, it is not a good time for me as a woman with a trauma disorder. And I just think that before we claim this is some kind of cure, we need a lot more research. They show us some mini documentaries by them, and then they just have this list here of scientifically proven benefits of OM. And then it says that we can read more about the research. However, as I pointed out at the beginning of this video, one of the most worrisome things about the Eros platform by OneTaste is that it's still going. They have upcoming live events, as you can see. It's May 12th when I'm recording this, and they got one tomorrow. 2 of them tomorrow. Eros bridges what is otherwise separate, serving as an essential catalyst for reimagining the world through a feminine lens. I don't think so. They are also still accepting members, as you can see. There are 4 plans. There's a free plan, there's a basic plan for $11 a month, a plus plan for $29 a month, and a premium plan for $68 a month. Each plan gives you a certain amount of Eros tokens per month. You also get some courses. You can learn all about OM. Don't want to miss out on that. You get chat boards if you're in the basic or above. You get videos if you're in the basic or above. Access to live events. And if you get the premium, you also get an Audit 1 Nicole Deadone one-day coaching circle, I guess annually. At least the blog hasn't been active since October of 2024, where their last article was Healing My War PTSD with OM. I don't appreciate it at all. So there's that. And then we have some testimonials. Cara V from Boston says, joining the Eros platform has been the best time investment. Every day, I am able to gain insight and wisdom on how to live and feel better. My feelings are validated in this safe space and my voice heard. I instantly felt supported in my journey to unleash my power. I'm so grateful for Eros. Lisa from New York says, I had tried many avenues of healing before finding Eros. While many were great, none have transformed me as deeply and applied to as many areas of my life as this has. The Eros platform has been an amazing way to learn more about myself. Go in depth with practices like Orgasmic Meditation. And meet great people. And Matt B from Los Angeles says, I love the Eros platform. I am on there daily, checking out the new things coming up. My favorite has been Art of Addiction. That class has totally shifted my perspective on addiction, something that I struggled a lot with in the past. I now have a lot more acceptance of myself and feel clearer and more purposeful in my life. I'll keep tuning into the platform because I want to continue to grow and love myself. Of course, they all give it 5 stars. They have some frequently asked questions. And then they also have the OM app. The OM app, available online and in the Apple App Store, offers an introductory OM basics course, a 15-minute practice timer, an OM journal, advanced courses, partner finding tips, and a wealth of videos and readings to guide your practice. And that is the Eros platform, which is still going, as I said. You can buy products, you can take the courses, you can join. Very worrisome with what's going on with this cult. And yes, it's a cult. cult. It's a sex cult.
Oh.
By 2018, over 35,000 people had participated in our in-person events. Over 16,000 had taken classes and workshops. Over 1,300 completed our coaching program, and tens of thousands of people worldwide had learned to OM.
Oh.
OneTaste's website reads, true to the doc on Netflix, OneTaste ran into some trouble after it had been in business for many years. Specifically, things started to fall apart after Bloomberg wrote a story on the company in 2018, alleging that employees were pressured by management to take expensive courses and go on retreats they couldn't afford. Some former employees also claimed OneTaste was a prostitution ring where staffers were told to have sex with or perform orgasmic meditation with each other or clients. I think maybe there wouldn't be a problem with teaching the art of this. The problem comes is when you are then actually touching clients or having your employees touch each other or the distributors touch each other and coaches touch each other or touch the clients. That's when it gets iffy and illegal. However, there is no record of criminal filings or lawsuits associated with the company, aside from a lawsuit filed against OneTaste by a participant in New York in 2018 claiming sexual abuse and fraud, but the suit was dismissed by a judge in 2019. OneTaste has previously said that any allegations of abusive practices are completely false, per The Independent. Bloomberg then reported an FBI probe into the company after the claims of sex trafficking, prostitutions, and violations of labor law surfaced. However, the current status of the 2018 investigation is unclear, and the Daily Beast reported that the Bureau never responded to queries about whether their probe was ongoing. The company has pushed back on these accusations, writing on its website that, in 2018, at the height of our success, we were canceled by salacious media, mischaracterizations propagated by Bloomberg Businessweek, Playboy, Vice, BBC. It appears that these will be repeated on a forthcoming production on Netflix. Now they list those things on their damn website to brag about the media they've been in. During the Netflix documentary, the company did rebrand, and it started to go by the Institute of OM.
Oh.
We just went through their active site. This article, which I will leave a link to down below, the true story behind Netflix's Orgasm Inc., all about OneTaste and allegations against the orgasm cult, was actually written in November of 2022. Then on Tuesday, June 6 of 2023, the United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District of New York, posted a press release entitled OneTaste founder and former head of sales indicted for forced labor conspiracy. And I think we should read through that right now. Daedone and Sherwitz allegedly obtained labor of OneTaste members by coercing them and grooming them to engage in sexual acts with current and prospective investors, clients, employees, and beneficiaries. An indictment was unsealed this morning in federal court in Brooklyn, charging Nicole Deadone, founder and former chief executive officer, and Rachel Sherwitz, former head of sales of OneTaste Inc. OneTaste, a wellness education company founded in San Francisco, California. Daedone and Sherwitz are both charged with forced labor conspiracy in connection with a years-long scheme to obtain the labor and services of a group of OneTaste members, including volunteers, contractors, and employees of OneTaste, by subjecting them to economic, sexual, emotional, and psychological abuse, surveillance, indoctrination, and intimidation. Sherwitz was arrested this morning and is expected to appear in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California this afternoon. Sherwitz will be arraigned in the Eastern District of New York at a later date. Daedone remains at large. Brian Peace, United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, and Michael J. Driscoll, Assistant Director in Charge in the FBI, New York Field Office, announced the charges. Under the guise of empowerment and wellness, the defendants are alleged to have sought complete control over their employees' lives, including by driving them into debt and directing them to perform sexual acts while also withholding wages, said U.S. Attorney Peace. This prosecution should serve as a reminder to both employer and employee that no matter the marketing mantra, this conduct is never acceptable. Yeah, even in an MLM MLM company. The defendants advertise their company as being able to help individuals recover from past trauma. In reality, they allegedly targeted their victims in order to manipulate them, not only into debt, but to limit their independence and create a reliance on OneTaste for basic needs. Because it's a cult. The FBI will continue to ensure that anyone willing to engage in a forced labor schemes are held accountable in the criminal justice system, stated FBI Assistant Director in Charge Driscoll. Can you shut down all the MLM companies? OneTaste. As alleged in the indictment and court documents, OneTaste branded itself as a sexually focused wellness education company founded by Nicole Deadone in 2004. From approximately 2004 through 2018, OneTaste generated revenue by providing courses, coaching, and events related to so-called wellness practices in exchange for a fee. And it's still going on all the way up to 2025, as I'm pointing out today. Many OneTaste members lived in residential warehouses where they participated in courses and experimented sexually. At various points in time, OneTaste maintained operations in, among other locations, New York City, San Francisco, Denver, Las Vegas, Boulder, Los Angeles, Austin, and London. In New York City, OneTaste leased residences and hosted events in several different locations, including in Brooklyn, Harlem, Hell's Kitchen, Soho, and West Village neighborhoods. Daedone served as the chief executive officer, CEO, and a leader of OneTaste from the company's founding until approximately 2017. Rachel Sherwitz served as OneTaste head of sales from approximately 2009 through 2018. Now they say that she's not the CEO anymore, but as you saw, she's all over that website. I don't know. As alleged in the indictment, between approximately 2004 and 2018, Daedone and Sherwitz deployed a series of abusive and manipulative tactics in order to obtain the labor and services of a group of OneTaste members who were volunteers, contractors, and employees of OneTaste. Daedone and Sherwitz intentionally targeted for recruitment to OneTaste individuals who had suffered prior trauma and advertised that OneTaste's courses and teachings could heal past sexual trauma and dysfunction. And as someone who suffers from that myself and has CPTSD, I'm taking this kind of personally. I don't appreciate it. If the members could not afford OneTaste's courses, which ranged from hundreds to tens of thousands of dollars each, Daedone and Sherwitz induced the OneTaste members to incur debt, and at times directly assisted the OneTaste members in opening new credit cards to pay for them, as they do in MLMs, am I right? Daedone and Sherwitz also undertook tactics designed to render the OneTaste members dependent on OneTaste for their shelter and basic necessities, and to limit the OneTaste members' independence and control. Among other things, they subjected the OneTaste members to constant surveillance in communal homes and collected deeply sensitive and personal information about them, which the defendants then used to render the OneTaste members emotionally, socially, and psychologically dependent on OneTaste. So they would blackmail them with personal information. We've discussed other cults that have done this in the past. Some YouTube communities out here do it too. They isolated the OneTaste members from their support networks by breaking up established relationships and assigning them to move to new locations on short notice. While employing such tactics, Daedone and Sherwitz demanded absolute commitment to Daedone, including by exalting Daedone's teachings and ideology. As part of this ideology, Daedone and Sherwitz instructed the OneTaste members to engage in sexual acts, including acts the members found uncomfortable or repulsive, as a requirement to supposedly obtain freedom and enlightenment and demonstrate their commitment to OneTaste and Daedone, most likely just for her sick pleasure, but anyway. Upon securing the allegiance of the OneTaste members through these tactics, Daedone and Sherwitz engaged in abusive employment practices. For example, Daedone, Sherwitz, and other OneTaste leaders promised to pay the OneTaste members wages and commissions for work performed on behalf of OneTaste, and subsequently failed to pay the OneTaste members the amounts owed, or change the OneTaste members' employment statuses or locations without advance notice. Oh, now they sound like Scientology. Daedone and Sherwitz also recruited and groomed OneTaste members to engage in sexual acts with OneTaste's current current and prospective investors, clients, employees, and beneficiaries for the financial benefit of OneTaste and, in turn, themselves. The charges in the indictment are allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. If convicted, Daedone and Sherwitz each face a maximum sentence of 20 years' imprisonment. If you believe you are or may be a victim in this case, please call the FBI New York's main line at 212-384-5000. Again, that's 212-384-5000. Here is the contact information here for the United States Attorney's Office handling the case as well. And once again, this was a press release from June 6th of 2023. On May 7th of 2025, Nicole Deadone and Rachel Sherwitz pleaded not guilty, and trial proceedings began. The way the media has been covering it was a little worrisome to me, and I released a quick video discussing it briefly, so if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Right now, Nicole Deadone has almost 39,000 followers on Instagram, where she claims to be a storyteller, erotic artist, lover, and Sicilian.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Prause. I'm a neuroscientist studying human sexuality, and we are starting a new study looking at the effects of orgasmic meditation on a variety of different health parameters. So some of the things that we are doing are coming to people who are engaged in orgasmic meditation and looking at how their brains work and how they're able to perform in tasks before and after engaging in that meditative practice. There are a number of very unique things about this type of a study. By having both members of a couple in already pretty unique, and recording from both of them doing a sexual interaction, I think is the first time it's really been done in the US outside of maybe Masters and Johnson if you count some of the things that they looked at, which was never brain response.
I don't know, he looks like he's enjoying that way too much to be a coach. Like, there are therapists that do sex therapy and they don't touch the client. This is also bizarre and illegal. And then you know that article that kind of upset me the other day by Vanity Fair that I did my video on, how an orgasmic meditation group sparked a troubled federal case by Dan Adler. Well, Nicole posted it up and said, "Thank you at Vanity Fair for putting this story into print. Grateful for the growing number of voices asking deeper questions. To everyone who's walked with me and shared their stories, you are the reason I keep going. Link in bio," with all our little hashtags. And again, this is just very worrisome. We cannot let this be a thing. We need to stop this OM thing from being seen as some kind of therapy. Like I said, there's a way to go about teaching some form of meditation like this, but it should not involve like people touching each other in these sessions. And Nicole should have nothing to do with any of it. Nicole posted up this picture on day 2 of jury selection for the trial, and she's just really taking this opportunity to do her little PR stunts. We know how much she likes PR, but it's very worrisome to me that this woman's website's still going, that people still look up to her and believe in this OM thing, that there's an institute dedicated to studying it. All of this very, very worrisome. This lady's a cult leader. Don't let her fool you just because she's a woman. She can be just as sick as if a man was doing this. I can't help but wonder if this was a man, if it would be seen differently, especially with how they kept comparing it to Nexium and Keith Raniere in that Vanity Fair article to like lessen the effects of it. This woman has hurt thousands of people, and she shouldn't get away with it. Allegedly. Allegedly. Another source that I found states, in opening arguments on Tuesday, May 6th in Brooklyn Federal Court, Sean Fern, Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, said, "The victims came to OneTaste seeking personal growth. They left as shells of their former selves." Courthouse News Service reports. And what did the defendants get out of this? Power, prestige, and money. Daedone sold OneTaste in 2017 for $12 million, according to Courthouse News Service. But according to all the materials that I could find, she still seems to be involved, or they're still using all of her teachings, all of her methods, and she's still the leader here of the cult. And then they end this article by saying, The alleged victims, she claims, actually regretted the sexual activity they consented to and turned around and claimed they were made to do it. The Times reports, "That's not force, that's not coercion," Miss Von Jean said. "It may even be growth." In a previous interview with the New York Times, Daedone called the accusations a narrative shaped by the media and adopted by the government. A spokesman for the defense tells People, this case never should have been brought. OneTaste was always about empowerment, consent, and healing, calling this a case stitched together with sensationalism and retroactive reinterpretation of adult choices. He says, "We're confident the facts will speak for themselves in court." And I also hope that I could be confident that the facts will speak for themselves. For me, there's just too many victims here that are stepping forward and saying the same thing. I trust Bloomberg's reporting, but I will continue to follow this and I will let you know what goes on with it in future. I wanted to do another video to do a further deep dive into this cult. And if you want to watch a video of me discussing my anger for how the media seemed to be portraying this as not as bad due to her being a woman and this being about like feminism or something, do check out my last video on this. I'll leave a link down below. And also down below, again, let me know all of your thoughts on this. Make sure that you like the video and that you subscribe so that you never miss an update in this case. Stay skeptical and stay safe on here, everyone, and I'll see you really soon with another one. I love all your faces, bye! Oh, calm down, Nicole.
Oh.
Queen of Karma.